Have you ever gone to the store, looked at the price of something, and thought, why is this so expensive? Well, what if I told you that sometimes the answer has nothing to do with the company, the cost of materials, or even inflation, but something called a tariff? Here's the shocking part. Tariffs can raise the cost of everyday items like iPhones, sneakers, cars, and even groceries, without you even realizing it. And yet, governments use them all the time, claiming they protect jobs and strengthen the economy. But do they really? Or do they just make life harder for regular people like you and me? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what a tariff is, how it works, and how it quietly shapes your paycheck, your shopping cart, and even global politics. In this video, we're going to break it all down in simple, relatable terms. What a tariff actually is. Why governments use tariffs. How tariffs affect you directly, famous examples of tariffs. The bigger picture. And at the end, I'll ask you the ultimate question. Do tariffs really protect American workers? Or do they just make everything more expensive? Trust me, you'll want to stick around for that one. Let's start simple. Imagine you run a lemonade stand. You sell a cup of lemonade for $1. Now imagine a new competitor opens across the street, but they're selling lemonade imported from another country for just 50 cents. Naturally, everyone runs to them instead of you. So, what do? You go to your local government and say, "This isn't fair. They're undercutting me. Help me out." The government responds by putting a tariff, basically a tax, on each imported cup of lemonade. So now that 50-cent lemonade has to sell for 80 cents after the tariff. Suddenly, your $1 lemonade doesn't look so overpriced anymore. That, in the simplest terms, is a tariff, a tax on imported goods. But here's the catch. Tariffs don't just impact lemonade stands. They affect billion-dollar industries, supply chains, and even entire economies. Have you noticed how much more expensive cars, electronics, and groceries feel lately? Tariffs are often part of that story. A tariff is a tax on imports. But the real question is, why would a government want to make products more expensive? Well, here's where things get interesting. Because tariffs aren't just about money. They're about power. Let's dive deeper. If tariffs make things more expensive, why on earth would any government want them? The answer lies in three big reasons. Think about American steel workers. If cheap steel floods in from overseas, U.S. factories can't compete. They lay off workers. To prevent this, the government slaps tariffs on foreign steel, making it more expensive, so U.S. steel becomes competitive again. In theory, that keeps jobs safe. Before income taxes were common, tariffs were one of the main ways governments made money. Even today, they generate billions in revenue. Ever heard of the U.S China trade war? Tariffs aren't just about economics. They're weapons in global negotiations. By raising tariffs, a country pressures another to change its policies. Do you think tariffs are more about protecting workers or about politics? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Governments love tariffs because they look like a quick fix. They protect jobs, bring in revenue, and give political leverage. But here's the real twist. While tariffs may help some industries, they can also quietly hurt millions of consumers, including you. Let's make this personal. Imagine you're buying a new iPhone. If the U.S. slaps a tariff on imported Chinese electronics, Apple has two choices. Eat the cost themselves, unlikely. Pass the cost on to you. So, that $999 iPhone, suddenly it's $1,099. That's the invisible hand of tariffs reaching right into your wallet. The same happens with cars, clothing, sneakers, groceries, basically everything that comes from abroad, which is a lot. And here's the kicker. The average American family pays hundreds, sometimes thousands more per year because of tariffs. But wait, don't tariffs also protect jobs? Yes, but here's the trade-off. Saving 10,000 jobs in one industry might mean higher prices for 300 million consumers. What do you think? Is that a fair trade? Tariffs can act like a hidden tax on everyday life. They raise prices for everyone, even if they protect certain jobs. And yet, there are moments in history when tariffs seem to work. So, let's look at some famous examples. The U.S China trade war 2018-2020. When the U.S. imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese imports, China retaliated with tariffs on American goods. Suddenly, U.S. farmers couldn't sell soybeans abroad, prices on electronics jumped, and supply chains got tangled. Consumers felt it in their wallets, while politicians debated whether it was working. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff, 1930. This one's legendary. During the Great Depression, the U.S. tried to protect American farmers by slapping tariffs on imported crops. But other countries retaliated, global trade collapsed, and the depression got worse. Most economists today consider it a massive failure. The Steel Tariffs, 2002. President George W. Bush tried tariffs to protect U.S. steelworkers. But U.S. car makers and construction companies complained because steel prices skyrocketed. Less than 2 years later, the tariffs were scrapped. Here's a question. Do you think these tariffs were bold strategies or costly mistakes? History shows us that tariffs can backfire big time, sometimes hurting the very workers they're supposed to protect. But let's zoom out. Because tariffs aren't just about isolated industries. They ripple through the entire global economy. Think of the world economy like a giant spider web. If you tug on one thread, say, by adding a tariff on steel, the whole web shakes. Tariffs disrupt supply chains. If American companies pay more for steel, their cars cost more, which means fewer people buy them, which means layoffs. Then, other countries retaliate, making it harder for U.S. companies to sell abroad. It's a domino effect. Now add inflation into the mix. Tariffs raise costs, which push up prices, which feeds inflation, something we've all been feeling lately. So while tariffs can protect a few industries in the short run, they often create ripple effects that raise the cost of living for everyone. Have you noticed prices creeping up on everyday items? Tariffs are one of the hidden culprits. Tariffs aren't just an economic tool. They're a balancing act between jobs, prices, and politics. So now the big question. Are tariffs actually good for American workers? Or are they just a hidden tax that makes life harder for everyone else? So, let's recap. A tariff is a tax on imports. Governments use them to protect jobs, raise revenue, and gain political leverage. But they often act like a hidden tax on consumers, raising prices on everything from iPhones to groceries. History shows mixed results. Sometimes tariffs protect industries temporarily, but often they backfire and hurt more than they help. And globally, tariffs can spark trade wars, disrupt supply chains, and raise inflation. Do tariffs truly protect American jobs, or do they just make life more expensive for everyday families? I'll be reading the comments, so share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your perspective. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button so more people can discover it. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because in the next video, we're tackling a huge question. Do tariffs really make American products stronger? You don't want to miss it.